Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are going to hop right into this today with my co-host, Mr. Anthony Treywick.
Hey
Welcome.
guys.
Hey, what's up, man? And yeah, this is crazy. We just found out today that President Biden has jumped out of the race. And by the way, you're watching the Unframe of Mind show where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
Anthony Treywick.
We covered that. Why am I waiting on you to say that like we didn't just cover that? Anyway, yeah. So we just found out today, and Joe Biden is dropping out of the election. And the funniest thing that I saw was people are going, "Well, what? Well, who's running the country now? Then, like, who's now in charge?" And there's two answers to that. And the first one is you're hilarious because he's still the president until the election and until the new president takes over. So theoretically, he's still running the country. But the second answer is he hasn't. Nobody's been running the country for God years, probably at this point. What do you think?
Yeah, I was scrolling through X and as I always do, I come across some pretty funny memes and they were talking about how Jill was pretty upset that she had to step down as president today. So I was just like,
I hadn't
well,
seen that.
yeah, that pretty much sums it up if that tells you anything.
My
You
favorite
know,
ones, on that note, my favorite ones were the ones where it's saying, "Man, President Biden's going to be so pissed when he wakes up from his nap and finds out he stepped down as president."
yeah, as funny as all of this is, to be honest, I mean, the memes have been great. The left doesn't know how to meme, obviously, but the right has just been on point with it. As funny as all of this is, it's sad. It's shown how screwed up our country is to other, foreign countries that are looking at us like, what the hell's going on over there? Um, and it's just it kind of shows you what's been going on over the last 4 years as far as the media lying to us, the administration lying to us, telling us that he was healthy and there wasn't anything wrong with him. Clearly, to a normal average person you could tell that things have not been okay. So um I
I'm
made
pretty
a
sure you. Yeah,
post.
I'm pretty sure you could have came out of a coma that you've been in for the last 3 years and just took one look at the guy and been like, "Yeah, that's nope."
Yeah, I mean, again, it just this is something that we've been discussing for some time, and I think really what did it was is the debate, and I think that was when the media was forced, and they probably knew that they were going to be forced to acknowledge the cognitability that Joe Biden is not doing well, and I think from there, it's just been this snowball effect of everything that we've seen that's culminated up to where we're at today. So, a lot of us didn't see, we saw this comment. This wasn't a surprise. It was just a matter of time. But yeah, here we are. Joe Biden is stepping down. He's going, obviously continuously going to run the country until, he's done. But a lot of people think that he's out, which kind of shocked me to see the IQ level of people who think that he's no longer president and that Kamala Harris is now going to take over the position, which is not true. He's going to finish out his presidency, and then it pretty much at that point is an open game. But he is backing Kamala Harris as the next candidate for the Democratic Party. So
Right
yeah,
on.
that's interesting.
I think what's also interesting is we're going to have a huge wave of people now trying to figure out how in the world to make sense of Kamala Harris being the front runner, and
Yeah.
now people in the Democrats are going to have to start looking at that line. What she say to see what can be unburdened by what has been. Now they're going to have to look at that and act like it's cool. Like it was so deep, bro. Like what she was saying was blank, 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 and it's going to be hilarious to see them try to step all over themselves to try to figure out how to make Kamala Harris like she hasn't been a total shithead the last few years. Uh, like I
It, it
don't know
sounds
what's gonna happen.
It sounds like that. What was it? That teacher from Charlie Brown that every time you hear it, it's like, wow, 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 wow. Just
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't understand it, but it's saying something. That's kind of what Kamala Harris, every time she says that statement, that's what it reminds me of.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah, the
I've,
Democrats are sorry to interrupt. The Democrats are going to be like, "Hey, listen, listen. I know, we know Biden was a turd sandwich. We tried to we tried to shine him up this turd sandwich as much as we could. We tried to make it more palatable for you as best as we could, but and it ultimately ended up failing. So you all rejected the turd sandwich. So we got an idea. This is the DNC speaking. We got an idea. The idea is here. Let's deliver you another turd sandwich
Yeah.
with different bread. Instead of white bread, we're going with a nice rye.
Don't be
People
racist, Daniel Wagner.
oh yeah, that's another one too. Is I posted this tweet earlier, something to the effect of, now that Kamala Harris is the front runner for the Democrats, can you Republicans please, just for the next few months, maybe refrain from saying anything racist or bigoted, please? We're already doing good, we're coasting downhill, everything's going great for the Republicans. Maybe just maybe just shut the fuck up. Maybe just don't say anything, huh? just let Trump do his thing and we'll be fine. We don't need your commentary on Kamala Harris's skin color. We don't need that. Just hush.
Well, and it's kind of what I told you earlier in that message that I sent to you. If you honestly think that you're going to get anything good out of Kamala Harris, it's going to be one of two things, if not both. It's she's going to play off the black card, and then she's going to pander to that demographic of people, as we've
Yeah,
seen before.
right.
And then it's also going to remind us of how privileged and how much white people are the problem in society today here in the United States. That's what we will end up getting from Kamala Harris. I can guarantee that right now, because that's historically what she's done over the last 3.5 years that she's been with Biden. So, it's you see the writing on the wall. It's going to come down the pike with her. So I would tell Republicans, don't be surprised. You're just going to have to shrug this one off and not listen to the talking points that she's been pushing this narrative for as long as she has. And of course, that all goes back to the whole DEI process, with the Democrats, and we've seen how well that's been kind of turning the tides here lately and shifting a lot of these programs that have been implemented into a lot of these businesses that are just after the whole situation with Trump and the Secret Service and that whole debacle.
Mhm.
You're starting to see companies kind of retract and get rid of that program in general. So, yeah, she's a product of DEI, and anybody with half a brain knows that, and they know not to vote for her. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's funny that their DEI policies are the very thing that got them in this position in the first place. The fact that
Yeah,
they needed to have a black woman in that position. Merit be damned. We don't, let's not worry about merit. Who actually deserves the position. Let's virtue signal to our voting base and put a black woman in there, because that's what this country needs. And now the problem is, if Biden even wanted to step down, which he did, now they can't get rid of Kamala. They have to figure out some way to get rid of Kamala without sounding like a bunch of racist and
yeah.
hypocritical bastards to their base. And so they get themselves in this dilemma where they're stuck here and they can't do anything. So I'm wondering what's going to happen at the DNC when that happens, as far as the delegates and whatnot, and how that's all going to play out. I'm really curious to see what the next few days or even weeks are going to bring. I don't suspect that Kamala is going to be their pick. I would say probably 30% it will be, and 70% it won't. It'll be somebody else that steps up and tries to take the reins. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if Hillary Clinton's going to be it or not, but I can imagine she's sitting on the sidelines right now going, licking them chops like, oh boy, look, I got another shot. I think I can do it. Maybe.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the Democrats would have had a better outcome had the attempted assassination on Trump never took place?
I don't even venture to know what that situation would have brought. Honestly, there had been so much bedlam and chaos going on at this point that Biden dropping out of the race would have been the least of our worries. And what's weird, we're so far ahead of the general public on this stuff. We just know this stuff's coming. You and I
Yeah,
both, neither one of us were surprised that one, there was an assassination attempt on President Donald Trump. That
we
was
called
that
that.
that should have been surprising, but that's what was heartbreaking. It wasn't surprising at all. It was like, just seemed like the natural next step. Likewise, Biden stepping down. Not surprised at all. It seemed like the next natural step. There just doesn't seem like there was going to be any other way for this to continue moving forward. He's degrading way too quickly, and it's
pretty
getting worse.
rapidly. Yeah,
And when the avalanche started falling and the entire media apparatus started like shitting all over him, I'm like, yeah, it's a done deal. Like he's gone. Like there's no way, shape, or form he's got the balls and the wherewithal to stand up to the media the way Trump did. He's done. He's it's over. So it's just a
hmm
matter of time and a matter of how. Like all we saw for the last few weeks was just them trying to figure out the how of it. And it seems like the how of it was, I'm not feeling too good. I got a little sniffle. I got the COVIDs, man. So maybe step down. I don't know why I started almost going into a Bill Clinton impersonation, but to me they're all the same person. But you get what I'm saying though. We saw it coming. Like it wasn't a surprise to us at all.
Well, and I think it's because a lot of it is, we're fairly decent, highly intelligent individuals that have some sort of brain that can function beyond the normal, population that doesn't really pay a whole lot of attention to politics and even social issues at that matter. But I think it's a culmination of everything that we've seen take place. And when you cover this stuff enough, we tend to pick up on how this is going to play out for the most part. We don't always get it right, but for the most part, we tend to. And
Yeah.
with this one, we did, especially with Trump. You and I have had a conversation before in the past that they were going to be left with only one option, and that was going to try to assassinate him. So when that happened, I was shocked that the kid pulled it off, but then I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
So there was
Yeah.
that element to it.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Right. So then,
Shocked, not surprised.
yeah. And then, so now that this has happened, um, with Joe Biden stepping down, I thought it was kind of interesting that he's going out with what he kind of started with, and that was with COVID. Starting with his first year of his presidency, having to deal with COVID, the lockdowns, and the shit show that took place with that. And then now they're telling the public that he had COVID. Now I don't know if this video is accurate or not, but I was kind of seeing his video circulating of him at a restaurant talking to supporters shortly after it was found out that he had COVID. And of course now he's decided to drop out of the race. So it wasn't a surprise. A little late in the game for the Democrats, I believe. I don't think that a lot of their donors are going to. I feel like that a lot of the donors that were backing Biden have now backed off completely from the Democratic Party because they see the direction in which that it's going. It's in mess, dude. It is an absolute chaotic mess for the Democratic Party. Um, so yeah, National Ice Cream Day. Love that. You can't. We need to do that next year. We need to celebrate that day. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where we saw it coming. It should have came sooner, but it didn't. But here, this is where we're at. The Democrats have got to figure this one out. I don't think they're going to be able to. I think no matter who they put in the Democratic Party to run for president is going to be able to withstand and withhold against Trump. Trump's got too much going for him. He's got the American people understanding now that the news is more biased than it's ever been. They lie way too much about who they support and who they don't, and it's pretty evident. The writing's on the wall for a lot of people that are kind of stepping back, especially your moderates. Your independents that are kind of looking at everything that's going on. And I firmly believe you're going to see that shift in vote towards the Republican Party this go around. So we'll see.
Right on, right on. Is there something you were wanting to? You sent me a bunch of links and whatnot. Were you wanting to
Yeah,
cover this about the? Yeah, I got the Robbie Starbuck post about John Deere's LGBTQ ally pledge here. I can pop that up
yeah.
here on screen.
So this
There we
all
go.
kind of
What's going on
started
with
back. Well, I wasn't really up to date on what was going on with the whole DEI program. I mean, I'm aware of what it is and the purpose that it serves, but what I wasn't aware of is what happened with Tractor Supply, a couple of weeks ago, where he went in and a couple of whistleblowers within Tractor Supply exposed the DEI program that was currently going on over there in that business. I mean, it was literally less than a week, and I believe Tractor Supply finally put out a statement saying that they're going to pull that program out of their business. I think what that is the Bud Light effect. The company is still losing money after all this time after what had happened with Bud Light. And I think companies are realizing that if they get exposed now, they're going to have to figure something out and not end up like Bud Light. So then we saw Tractor Supply. Not Tractor Supply. We saw John Deere. That's that whole situation. A whistleblower came forward and said, "Hey, they've got the DEI program in place." He went after them, exposed John Deere. John Deere has now retracted their program. We've seen this with Microsoft. So you're seeing a lot of companies that are going through this whole situation with DEI that are realizing that, hey, maybe this isn't the direction we need to go, because we need to start basing our hiring off of merit, not off of, race, religion, and gender. I mean, that's essentially what it boils down to. Your qualifications are based off of what's dangling between your legs at this point. And we saw that with the Secret Service. The head of Secret Service, was guilty and was actually on video discussing that very thing about getting more women involved in the Secret Service. Now, hey, I'm all for equal opportunity for everyone, but in some situations in life, you need men to do men specific jobs and women to do women specific jobs. Having
But
women who are much shorter than men, or trying to save a life of a man who towers over you by, 1 or 2 feet, you're not really doing any justice. And if you can't even holster your own firearm, and now you've become a public meme because of that, this is not the direction that a lot of these companies are wanting to go to. And I hate to say it, I mean, I hate that we've come this far, but that's been the pressure of the left for so many years. And I think we're starting to see a significant social and political shift in this atmosphere. So we'll see.
but Anthony, listen, if she wasn't sorry, but Anthony, if she was tall enough, then we wouldn't have gotten that iconic photo. If
This
we
is
had
true.
proper if we had a proper team of Secret Service, there's no way, shape, or form that that iconic photo would have happened,
Yeah.
because she would be as tall as he was, or if not taller, and they would have been strong enough to keep him down on the ground. But no,
Right.
he just fought him off and stood up. Good lord,
Well, and the
asked
thing
about his
is,
shoes and went on about
well,
his business.
and again, it's just the fact that I have to sit here and justify what I'm trying to explain to people, so they don't get all up in arms about the situation, with DEI. It's not anything discriminatory towards women or towards men. This is simple, just understanding and common sense of what needs to happen in our society, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not. And now that we've kind of tested these waters with DEI, I think a lot of these companies are starting to retract a lot of that, a lot of those programs they've implemented now, because they realize, shit, this doesn't work. This is not working. Pandering to the left is not getting them anywhere. And they need to try to approach this in a different way that makes sense to something that doesn't make sense. And now all of a sudden we feel warm and fuzzy and inclusive. Well, that's only going to get you so far. When people start dying from DEI, like we almost saw with Trump, that's going to when it's that's I think honestly that's when it woke everybody up, to be honest with you.
Now, I wonder if a lot of this issue is, these businesses are they're trying to make money, obviously, and they're trying to kind of wet finger the political winds and see where they're going, so they don't end up in the crosshairs. And then some of them are going, well, this seems to be the popular thing. This is kind of what needs to be done, I think. So maybe we need to implement some of these policies. And it's, for a while it was okay, but because we hadn't seen the effects of it yet. But I think a lot of it's they're starting to get it bit in their ass for it, because they're
Yeah.
starting to see the repercussions of not only hiring, from a very limited pool of applicants, and therefore decreasing your chances of having the best qualified person for the job, but you're also seeing the backlash of people that are going, hey, now hold on, I'm not going to shop at places that are like intentionally trying to sabotage their own business. I'm not
Yeah.
going to invest in companies that are intentionally trying to sabotage their own business. And we've seen enough of the results at this point that it's pretty obvious that that's what's going on. So I don't know, there's I hope that we're going to start seeing a shifting of the ship, a righting of the ship, and moving back in a more positive direction. Now, if that means less people get hired on these jobs, and we actually do start, you know, if we start getting people with actual merit in the jobs that they're supposed to be in, and we start making money because of it, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people, some minorities, some women that aren't qualified for the jobs, they're going to be out of work and they're going to have to find something else. I mean, I sorry for you, but you just going to have to try to do better. Find a job that you're more suited for, that you're better qualified for, that you can actually perform in a function, especially something like the Secret Service. You know, that's yeah, you got to have a certain level for that. You want me to show all these little tweets here that you had you sent, or
Yeah, just to kind of give give people an idea of what we're discussing and what we're talking about, and so that it kind of makes sense as to what we're currently going through. I mean, Microsoft was another one that just laid off their DEI team. I'm not
what's this?
sure the specifics of the reasons as to why, but I'm pretty sure that given, light of recent events, I think Microsoft is starting to understand that this program is not valuable to their company, and I think that
Yeah,
could be said for
that's
all of them.
surprising. That's surprising. Uh,
Microsoft is very left leaning. So I mean, again, there's probably more to this story than what we know or that we're made aware of. But either way, it's a situation that needed to happen. If it's a culmination of different things that have happened over the last few weeks or even months, then I'm hoping that society is starting to get their shit together and understanding that, hey, we tried this process with DEI and it just wasn't going to work. I'm just glad that we're not 10 years down the road with DEI and we've lost hundreds of thousands of people because of it. Um, I mean, when I say that, I mean the military was also involved with the whole DEI program, and it's a cancer within our society that needs to be eradicated. And this thought process and this mentality is not good anywhere in the world, and it should never be implemented in any company for them to be successful. It's just my opinion.
right. So you sent me this clip by
Right. Should be the Rubin report. Rubin
yeah,
report.
report. Do I need to play this video, or you?
Basically, I mean, you can if you want to let folks hear, the head of Secret Service discussing, wanting to bring
making
women
sure
into the
that we
workforce.
making
Okay, let me pop this up here, and we will get it playing here.
sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce.
Here is the head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle. This is her bragging about diversity that she has brought to the Secret Service.
As I sit in this chair now, of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce, and particularly women.
That workforce will be pivotal for the 2024 campaign season, which for the first time includes a former president who already has lifetime protection. Agents were there when Donald Trump was arraigned in New York.
We were able to work out the details ahead of time of how that particular day was going to go, but we will always ensure the safety of all of our protectees that we have.
The service has a zero-fail mission, a mission officers are training to uphold, pretending this field is the most famous address in America.
That's funny. A zero fail mission. I think it's working out, man.
Yeah, so I mean, and then of course, I don't know if you've seen the video, but then she was approached by several senators and I think governors as well at the RNC about the situation that happened with Trump and the failure that took place up there in Butler, Pennsylvania. So yeah, that was a 4-minute video where they just kept drilling her and asking her for her I can't say the word.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh no, they were just calling for her resignation and for her to step down. So yeah, just take a look, just take a listen for a few minutes.
Resign tonight or start answering our questions right now about the death threat to President Trump and allowing him to go on stage in Pennsylvania at a time when he'd already been alerted that there was somebody with a spotter, all these situations already identified an hour before, and you let him go on stage without the knowledge of him, the team on the ground, and you will put him within less than an inch of his life. So resignation or full.
Okay, so basically what I'm hearing here is just a kind of a public reprimanding of her,
Yeah.
just, hey, and it did surprise me. Like, why did she think that showing up at the RNC was a good idea to begin with? Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Especially when
Yeah.
there's definitely a huge investigation to be had. You probably should have been in Pennsylvania, communicating with your local offices there and trying to get down to the bottom of what happened. Holding somebody
Yeah.
accountable, like just for once, we would love to see somebody in politics and somebody that it's heading our country, like, be held accountable. Like, that would be such a change of pace that would be more surprising than the fact that Donald Trump was had an attempt on his life.
Well, and the reasons why I bring this up with the Secret Service situation is because we all see the infamous photo of the woman that was ducking and taking cover behind the other gentleman when they were on the stage trying to protect Donald Trump from a shooter. And it shows her ducking so she doesn't get hit. And then, of course, we all have seen the other woman that couldn't even holster her gun. So, these are the policies that they're trying to push into agencies and into other places, around the world, or especially here in the United States, that are just not working. They're failing. And we're seeing this in real time. And this is something that we've often, said from the very beginning. This is not something that's going to work in our society. And the left have been wanting to push it for some time now. And we've gotten
Yeah.
to this point where, you can't not deny what's currently going on. Now, you've got your conspiracy theorists about the whole Trump shooting, and it's interesting because 1 in 3 Democrats actually believe that that whole shooting was staged. That's interesting. And that's pretty wild to think that this is coming from the same people who criticize the right and believe in QAnon. So, I mean,
That was
there's what's that?
hilarious. Like, that was hilarious. That was the funniest shit. Like, and the fact that a third of them are like, yeah, this is a conspiracy. They did
Yeah,
they did something, like, they staged this. Like, oh my god, after they were wetting themselves, to get what's his name, Alex Jones, to be in trouble for what he'd said about Sandy Hook. And
yeah.
here they are, like, what the hell? Like, you don't, like, they just don't think. I guess I'm not surprised. I shouldn't
Well,
be.
and that's what I tell people is, both the left and the right are guilty of their conspiracy theories. So how about we tone it down just a notch and stop automatically going directly to conspiracy theories when things happen, and then just kind of let them, let everything kind of sort itself out and see what we come up with at the end of it. But no, it's interesting because I see a lot of people now posting memes where they're like, well, Trump doesn't have a band-aid on, or that's not real, or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this is coming from the same people who wore a mask on their face during COVID in their car with nobody in there. I'm not listening to you. It's not going to happen. So, I mean, and again, this goes back to DEI, what the left has been pushing. Here we are. There's been a lot of fallout because of it. Companies are getting exposed. They're losing, their investors are either pulling out, pausing, or whatever the case might be. But in general, DEI is not good for society. It needs to be a merit-based program that, if you're qualified for or, you need the most qualified person for that position. Bottom line, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a male. That's what it needs to be. It's just common sense. We need to get
Absolutely.
back to the basics, unfortunately,
So,
so
what do you say we wrap this up with there was a short 20-second video that Biden put out, the first
yeah.
time speaking since dropping out of the race.
Yeah,
Uh,
so Biden took to the Oval Office and he addressed the nation, and I thought this was something that all of us needed to hear. And he's had a good run, so let's give it a listen.
yeah, let's see what he says here. Here we go.
My fellow Americans, I want to take a moment to address some of the hateful shit you've been talking about me. Many of you have said I am suffering from brain worms, or that I have applesauce for brains. Well, I won't mince words, so here it is. Fuck you. You're all a bunch of faggots. End of quote. Repeat the line. So enjoy President Cackles or President Booty Juice. I really don't give two fucks anymore. Biden out. My fellow Americans.
It's good to see that he was on point. He didn't stumble over his words. He articulated himself very well.
Yeah,
I'm just so glad he went out on top. So
yeah, he did it all in one take. That was
he did.
incredible. Like, man, You know, I don't hate the guy as much anymore. That seemed like a real dude right there. You know,
He sounded
definitely
like
not,
Trump, so good for him.
definitely not an AI recreation or anything like that.
No, not at all.
Actual footage. Holy shit. That's wonderful. All right. Well, you guys have been watching the Unframe of Mind show. If you like this content, would like to see us do some more like it, please let us know in the comments section below. Who do you think is this is the question for the audience here, but who do you think is going to be the next Democrat, the next Democrat nominee? Yeah, nominee. Who do you think? Who do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be Kamala Harris, or is it going to be somebody else that's going to show up at the last minute that nobody expects, like President Obama back in the day? That being said, what do you say we hop out? You can find me over on all social media platforms at Unframe of Mind. And what about you, Anthony?
Mine is just Anthony Trowick, my full name. Not worried about me and Doc, so it's out there. So you can
Yes,
find me at Anthony
sir.
Trowick.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all have a good night. I will see you in the next video.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon.